Welcome back, fifth grade teachers. We'd like to give you an overview of the Unit 7, the Persuade for the Nonfiction pilot. I want to remind you that when you go to the ARC, that you have your own tab for the Nonfiction Writing Pilot that will take you to this screen right here. And then whenever you go down to the fifth grade, it'll take you to the planning guide. And again, we just wanted to give an overview of the planning guide, that it identifies the TEKS that will be addressed. The writing TEKS are there. Also, we wanted to note that the research TEKS are available here as well, but they're going to be hit in a later unit as well, in a much deeper. This is your Persuade unit, where we're going to be looking at persuasive writing. There's the unit overview, has some suggestions for pages that we'll be looking at in a few moments. And then the actual lesson page numbers that are there. The mentor text that we're going to be using for this unit is Martha's letter. And then some assessments that we'll be examining. Power writes that are suggested. There are two different ones in this unit. And then there's a few teacher notes that are there that we'll go into deeper in just a moment.
All right, we are going to take a look at our spiral-bound book, Explorations in Nonfiction Writing, and we're going to turn to the Persuade tab. And you'll find on pages 159 through 165 some really helpful information. And I kind of wanted to go over some of the things. The big picture is you're going to be using a mentor text called Martha's Letter. And you're going to be writing, the students are going to be writing persuasive letters in this unit. Okay. If you flip over to the next page, you kind of have an outline of kind of suggested time frame. There are 10 sessions in this unit. You have 14 days for this unit, so you might find that some days you might need to spend more time towards the end of the unit. And we're going to flip over here. Okay, here's some more helpful information focusing your standards, so you can kind of read over that piece there. What we really want to point out is the individual assessment records that you're going to find on your CD, and we'll show you later where they're uploaded to the ARC. This is where you can have a form where you can fill in your student's name, and you can kind of make a little checklist of all the different pieces that you're going over in this unit. And then over here we have a rubric for each student that will be helpful when you get done with the final piece. Flipping back here, there's some more tips to read before the unit, some ideas here. I kind of wanted to point out during the unit, make sure that you're modeling note-taking for the students. Make sure you're doing it in front of them with the chart paper, sticky notes, capturing your thinking. And then there's a suggestion here to provide templates for students who need extra support when they're writing. And you'll find on the CD-ROM there's some different graphic organizers that you can use. After the unit, we have a piece, the self-assessment for the students. It's a personal checklist for persuasive writing, and the students can kind of follow that and kind of just evaluate how they felt like they did in the persuasive unit. All right, moving on, we're going to start with session 1. And you're going to use the mentor text, which is called Martha's Letter. And it is in this book right here under mentor texts, and you'll flip back. And this is also on the CD if you would like to print it off for your students, but you can also project it. And that's the persuasive letter that is going to be used as the mentor text. And you're going to follow these lessons. Okay, and they have a piece here, of course, your mini lesson, and then you're going to go into your writing and coaching, okay, and sharing at the end. And if you go back to your planning guide that's on the ARC, we've highlighted something important here, and it's in session 1 is a key opportunity to bring in the TEKS terminology as you co-create the features of a great persuasive text anchor chart. The debate plan, Power Write would work well in social studies as content area writing. All right, so we're going to move on, and I'm going to point out some other things here. If you flip to session 3, you'll see that there is an excellent graphic organizer that you can use for students. And this actually includes some research teaks in this unit. However, you don't hit them until Unit 10, so you can kind of use your own judgment for how extensive you want to do the research. All right, flipping back to page 181. In session 8, you'll see that there is a revision checklist, and this is another piece that's on the CD that you can pull up, and we'll show you where it's at on the ARC in a minute. But this is for the students to go through and start revising their papers with. All right. And the last one I want to show you are the power rights. So in this, there are 2 power rights, and those would work well in the social studies as content area writing. The video commercial power right bridges reading and writing persuasive text to media literacy. And then there is this last one here is the debate. So those are the 2 power rights that are suggested in this unit. And we wanted to explain to you what the power rights can be used for. If you flip back here to page IX, that's in the very front of your spiral bound book, it will explain a little bit more. These are meant to be brief writing experiences taught in a single teaching session, and you can link them across your curriculum: science, social studies, math, language arts, and so on. You can use them as a pre-assessment. You can use them as an assessment. Power rights serve as a springboard for using the target text type again and again as a tool for solidifying cross-curricular understandings. All right, we also want to show you that you have a packet of posters, and in here you're going to find a great persuasion poster that you can use.
Now we want to review another resource that you have in your packet. It's the Guide to Teaching Nonfiction Writing. You go ahead and turn to page 39. This section is all about conferring, and if you looked at the way the lessons are written out, that you always have that time in the middle for conferring with students, and this has some really good tips. So they talk a little bit down here about ways to organize who you meet with and to make sure that you're meeting with all of your students. And then on the next page, it offers some suggestions and comments that you can make. What we really, really like is on page 41. There are some prompts that you can use or questions that you can ask as you go about your conference, and you have the students discuss their work. One of the key points here is that you don't have your students read their whole piece, that you focus in on asking them about a summary first. You work on giving them a compliment and then going into your teaching point, and that's where this is talking here about you notice and name what you see in the writing about the compliment piece, and then taking notes on what they do. And then that last page here, we're talking about that one teaching point that you want to offer the students and how it is that they're going to go about doing that. So it's really about having a conversation about what the students are doing well and what the teaching point is that you'd like to make.
Okay, so we're back on the Nonfiction Pilot tab in the ARC, and we wanted to point out a few more resources. They have put all of the DVD resources on the ARC now, so you don't have to worry about using the CD that's in the book. When you click, it will take you to a folder in your Google Drive, and they've got everything that was on the DVD. Including some of the model writing that's available. They also give you all of the power rights that are available, and even the student work samples, student writing, so you can see what the power rights are going to look like, what they might look like with your students. If you scroll down a little more to the at a glance, the at a glance is going to show you the timeline for turning in your student samples. That's right here at the end in yellow. So at the end of Unit 7, you're going to have January 17th to February 17th to submit your student samples. And we're going to look at those a little more. So something new this time, there's no pre-assessment. You may do a pre-assessment, but you do not have to submit those samples. You're only going to submit end of unit samples now. You're still going to submit 3 writing samples, one above average, one average, and one not yet average sample. And each sample is going to need a cover page now. The cover page is here. If you click, you can see that. And you're going to fill in all this information for each sample and staple it to the sample before you send those through intercampus mail. They actually have made some copies. So the copies we have are blue, and if you have an instructional coach on your campus, they'll have those for you. If you don't have an instructional coach, they're going to send those to your campus. So be on the lookout for those.
All right, last but not least, you have a tab on the questions form. If you have any questions, you can also persuade your instructional coach to help you. I'm sure that they would love to.